on camera. Start the show, Shelly.
Oh, hi, welcome to the Last Life Live. I'm Shelly Lisguy, and Brian Smith's over there fixing. We had a technical difficulty. Tonight we have Byron Reed and Chris Andrews with us. Chris is a repeat offender.
Yes.
Yeah.
Switch me cameras here quick to see where we're at. This is live. This makes it better.
We're lopsided.
Are you? Which way do you want to go? You did a good number on that.
There we go.
We're gonna go with that.
That's good.
Yep.
There we go. Stick with that other camera more. Hey, don't kick the table, Byron. Just so you know, we didn't get to do all this stuff ahead of time. Welcome to the Last Lap Live. I'm Brian Smith. We're here with our guests Byron Reed and Chris Andrews, and Shelly's on the other side there with a red face because she's not used to starting the show. So we waited for Byron to come in, and he walked in the door and crashed the camera right away. So that's what happened. Our technical difficulties there. So.
And before we start, did you say you wanted to apologize to Byron for something?
Yeah, we slid him in Hot Lap Series. Probably a good time to talk to him.
Yeah.
I was telling Brian about it earlier. He goes, does Byron, do they know they're coming on together? I don't know. I don't set that part up.
Yeah.
We have a history of bringing in people at the same time with Cap Henry and DJ Foose, and then we had Guy Webb and Shane Helms right after each other. It was
not together though.
Yeah, they weren't together. But so what are we going to talk about first? Let's go ahead and start with your Kick It deal here because that's coming up here.
11 days.
11 days.
Yep. Got a lot of stuff going on. Got the trophy in today. Actually, I got it the other day. I'm fibbing to you. I pulled in the parking lot today and crashed it, so I'm going to have to take it back for some adjustments. I don't know. You can't see that, can you? Something's going on with
We got the lopsided camera
That's
too
all right.
close. This is how a live show works. We're winging it. This is. I assume you haven't seen it because you asked where it was at. So.
Yeah, I just heard you guys talking on the video board, like when we get to the track and that I can hear the show going on, but I've never saw it on.
That's the most embarrassing
He
thing.
hates it.
I hate hearing myself talk.
Yeah.
I don't ever watch the show afterwards. But so basically, we're in this little room. We're sitting on the couch. We're looking at the TV like we're hanging out in the living room, and we just talk about whatever.
Okay.
Most of the time, unless there's something really set we want to talk about. But with you two guys, we'll talk about your season so far because you're battling for a championship, and you're battling for a championship.
Yeah.
And,
I don't know. We're touch and go right now. He's getting pretty good. They're getting pretty fast, but we're just trying to kind of maintain at this point. Obviously try to pick up some wins, but the year's winding down pretty quick.
Well, both the fasting and the Fremont points are super close.
are you close in both of them, Brian? I know you're like 8 points back in Fremont.
Yeah, I'm pretty close. I mean, I'm closer in the Fremont. I mean, Chris would have to pull one of those deals like he did at Attica probably for me to win the fast thing.
You're only 23.
I don't even know. I was waiting for somebody to put a breakdown of what I would need to do versus what he would need to do, but I'm not really too worried about it. I mean, I just want to
see can you do that?
do the best I can, and we've gotten a lot better here the last month or so. We was running a car that I'd run last year that I thought was okay, but just couldn't get consistent with it this year. So we actually, for about a couple weeks, we broke out an old car. I mean, a really old car. It was Brian Smith's old car.
What's a really old car for Byron Reed?
8 years old.
Oh, that's even older than the one that I have. So wow.
And I got a lot better when I switched to that car, but now I've got a new car that we'll probably start the year with next year, and it seems pretty good. So that's kind of what's turned our season around from where we were earlier in the year.
What kind of cars are you running now? What's the last?
This is a Maxim.
Okay.
But the 8-year-old car was an old JEI car.
Oh wow.
We just couldn't get anything going, and I ordered another car from Maxim, and they said, well, it'll be at least a month before I'd get it. And I said, well, I don't want to go another month driving, doing what I was doing. And so we decided, well, that thing's sitting in the shed there, and it's got a new hood on it. So we put it together, and immediately I felt 100% better. But now this car feels just as good as that one did. But then I think this new car runs better in the slick than what I've had in the past. So.
And the best part about it is an 8-year-old car for you. You didn't have to change the lettering or anything.
Right.
It was all set, ready to go.
Yep.
Black with the 5 on it.
Right.
Shelly, you got something going on
I
over there?
am trying to get Ross to give me a
Points breakdown.
scenario of
Well, there you go.
what needs to happen. And doesn't need. We know what you need to not do.
Yeah.
Not what you do, right?
Yeah.
You just need to stay on your wheels. Let's talk about that now because you didn't want to. We were talking about that. What happened at Attica there a couple weeks
Just
ago?
you know, you gotta stand up top of your car, and we had a few things that kind of went south on us with shocks, and we kind of chased it for about 3 weeks, and it was in a bad portion of the year to have it go south. So got our stuff figured out, and I think we're kind of back to where we were. But yeah, that was, you know, I can't whine about it because, you know, I took a championship away from him about 4 or 5 years ago, and that probably hurt pretty bad, and I see what it feels like now. So, but yeah, we'll just, for our rest of the year, you know, we'll just do as good as we can. I don't know if we have a chance at Fremont. It's getting pretty close. 2 races to go. I don't think we can make up that many points, but the fast deal, 4 points per position, that can get pretty dicey.
We talked about that.
Yeah.
43
Is
point.
it I knew it was a closer,
Yeah, you're 8 and he's 43. Out.
You can make that
Oh.
up in 2 nights.
but fast is 4 points per position.
Yeah.
So it's because the Fremont is like 2 points a spot,
Yeah.
isn't it? So it's there is a little more change can happen in the fast thing. So hey, you know, all I can do is just like I did last year at Fremont when I got lucky to win that. I just do the best you can and let the cards fall where they may. So it won't do me any good to. First of all, I got to beat him, and ideally it'd be great to just win, and then that'd be the
Right.
best thing, and let the cards fall where they may.
And you did get a win at Attica. That was the first one of the year?
Yeah, that was the
At
first
Attica?
one. Yep.
Did you win one at Fremont?
Not yet
This
this year. No.
No, in the top 5, there's Caleb Griffith has won 2 and Brantley has won 2. And the other guys, y'all haven't won any.
No,
No wins? We better get
struggling.
after it. The thing at Fremont though is they have qualifying points and they have heat race points too, so
Right.
that does give you a little more of a swing. Even though it's not 4 points in the feature, it does give you a little bit of a chance to make up some points.
Ross Paulson's actually calling me.
Tell them we're on the air
Better be
live.
watching the show.
Doesn't he know what time it is? Well, let's go back to the kick it real quick because we were
Okay.
going to start with that. We got off on a tangent, but
Sorry about that.
so that's in 11 days. You said.
Yeah, and I got a lot of stuff going on. I was telling you, I got home last night and someone made the remark to me, I don't know what you're so upset about. Isn't there just a bunch of people coming to play kickball? There's 16 teams this year. We have a live auction, a silent auction. I've got all kinds of awards to give out. And, the Devin Coleman, do you know Devin?
No.
No, from over in the Port Clinton area. He was an 8th grader and he had a brain tumor and he passed away last year and his family's coming over and they're kind of going to be my masters of ceremonies or my guests for the night. They're bringing a bunch of Devin's friends and stuff, so that's going to be fun. And we got our Queens contest and a band and just a lot going on that weekend.
Yeah, it's a busy weekend for sure.
Yeah, and I just sent in about $14,000 worth of checks, so we're getting up there. And
Do you have any idea where you're at right now?
I don't because all the team stuff's still out.
Okay.
I have some cash still that I have to turn into, like I can't send cash in the mail, so I'm just gonna wait until game day. You know, we have a lot of Kier's just donated a really nice helmet, and then we have a wrap from Clay, so that we have some good racer items.
So can you still donate to the auction?
Yes,
You
you
still
can.
taking items to
Yeah,
that?
I am actually gonna take up to that day.
And how do you do that?
You can just bring it to the game. We'll have a tent set up, and where the live auction. Actually, we'll do the live auction and the silent auction all in the same area. Pretty much where the pit pass is, you know, the booth there. That whole area is just going to be roped off, and we'll have all the kick it there. And we had to move the games across the street, so.
So you're in the parking lot
Playing the
across the
rocks.
street?
Yeah. Well, we found 3 really decent areas that
Okay.
if you don't slip and fall. You played in mud the first year, didn't you?
I don't remember. What
Did you
were-
play that first year?
No.
No, and you did, Brian did, so, little rocks.
Are you playing this year?
little mud.
No.
Don't have a team or
Don't have a
just-
team, not part of a team or anything like that.
Well, there's openings on teams if
Is
you
there?
would like to
Okay.
play. I more than welcome. I tried to get through the pits. Actually, I sent a couple other women to go through the pits and ask anybody if they were interested. And
Okay.
It's a good time. You'll get down to
I
town
actually,
early.
Sheldon Hodenshield just got put on a team today.
boy.
He's gonna play with you and Ripper.
Cool.
What team are you on?
The crazy team.
Yeah.
It's just the crazy
The
thing.
The Renegades.
There you go. Chris Andrews said that.
Are we gonna get into that? We
So-
actually had a discussion out there about
We
that.
always have the best discussions out there.
Yeah, that's how it works.
Byron missed out on
Right.
our Renegade All-Star conversation, so.
We can we can come back. I tell you what, Steven, let's take a little break. Let's come back, and we can discuss that a little bit with you guys
Sure.
and see what you think about that deal going on. So let's take a break, and we'll be right back.
Cardiology, I don't have the heart. Pulmonary doctor, no cigar. I can't diagnose a simple cold or flu, but if your engine's got a cough, I know what to do. Give it 6 of these and wash it down with this. A new air filter ought to help it catch its breath. Now but know how. No, 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 but know how.
Since I was born, I dreamed of being a Budweiser Clydesdale. Only problem is, I was born a donkey. So all my life, I practiced the Clydesdale walk and the Clydesdale pull. I even tried hair extensions on my lower legs. And then came my big interview. They looked me in the eye and said, "What makes you think you can be a Clydesdale, son?" And what was my answer? I must have said something right.
You know, we should have spent that time, Stephen, adjusting that camera, but we didn't think of that. Welcome back to the Last Lap Live with Chris Andrews, Byron Reed, and Shelly Liskey. We were talking out there, before you got here, Byron, we were talking a little bit about this All-Star and Renegade deal, and things are starting to ramp up a little bit. You know, the Renegades had their first race. The All-Stars are, I don't know if they're kind of counteracting what the All-Stars are doing, or I mean, the Renegades are doing. They're just trying to get out there some more. But they announced their point fund yesterday for 2015, and their tow money and that sort of stuff. So, what are your thoughts? Either one of you guys, what are your thoughts on this whole Renegade and All-Star situation?
Well, my thoughts are, you know, first of all, I really don't have a stake in it because I'm at the point in my career where I'm not going to be traveling all over the place. I've been racing a long time, and I actually ran the complete All-Star Series 2 or 3 years. You know, we had like 1 year I raced like 76 times in 1 year. That's the most I've ever raced. But I will say, like from my perspective, even still how I'm racing, but even more for a lot of the other guys, I feel like we're racing because of the lack of All-Stars. I mean, there's less races to run that pay pretty good, the All-Star style purse. Like I say, back in like 1999, 2000, 2001, you could run 25 All-Star races without even trying that hard. And 10th place at an All-Star show pays $1,000. 3rd place at a Attica Fremont show, which I think is great that they're paying better than it did in the past, obviously, and they're doing a great job. But 3rd place pays $1,000. Sometimes I think it's easier to run. It would be easier to run 10th at an All-Star show paying $1,000 versus 3rd at Fremont and Attica paying $1,000. So it's like I feel like there's less money for the racers to run for in general. So in that sense, maybe a Renegade type thing would be good to give you more options. But on the other hand, like I told some people when they asked me about it, you can say, and I've been through, right at the start of my career was the USA organization and then NST. Those guys had, the top named drivers in the country paying, they were going to pay a really good purse and everything. But you can have all that, but if you don't have the supportive tracks, you're not going to get anywhere. And if what I'm seeing is true, it looks like that right now the tracks are kind of sticking with the All-Stars. So I think it'll be a pretty big challenge for the Renegade deal to get off the ground from that, and maybe from this it has kind of woken the All-Stars up a little bit that they need to fix a few things. So if the Renegade deal doesn't work, and maybe if nothing else, it'll kind of wake up some of the All-Star people that they need to kind of take care of things a little better.
Chris?
Yeah. I mean, he pretty much said it. A little competition probably doesn't hurt, and you gotta watch how you word things. But yeah, it can.
Yeah, nobody's watching.
I think just in this area alone, I think we could see a little more of a healthier race structure, more races, more money, and that's why, like, the Renegade deal, being a working man, if you could schedule 30-40 races in a 5-hour radius for a season, whether it's possible or not, I don't know, but 30-40 races for 5,000 to win would be awesome. I think you'd have quite a few guys follow that deal, and with a purse structure like the All-Stars, first to 10th, 10th paying 1,000, that would I think you could get 20 guys to follow it easily. But whether we can pull it off, or we, like, I'm part of it.
I just caught that.
So you signed on?
Yeah. Breaking news. No, whether they can pull it off
Can
or
we
not.
tweet that and make it official?
Right. So best case scenario, the Renegades get done what they want. Can the two, in your opinion,
Yeah, I mean,
stay together? Can
They
they
just-
Survive
survive?
at the same time?
I think they could, really. I mean, it's two totally different animals. The All-Star deal, it's almost as if a guy runs that to kind of make a living. There's no way you could have a job and run the All-Stars and make everybody happy. I mean, there's probably a little bit more money with the All-Stars. I don't know how many races they run, 40-ish.
More than that.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah, I was thinking.
Yeah.
They were
You know,
about
they're-
50 or 60.
They're in eastern
somewhere.
PA and Florida, out west, and
And I think, though, that after this year, that has been announced, right? That
No regions
deal-
anymore?
Yeah, no regions.
Yeah, it's going to be an
I
overall
think
champion.
It sounded like he was going to kind of keep it closer to like a 4-hour radius or
Yeah.
something.
Now, you traveled in the past. How many races would it take for you to be able to survive out there? Would you need 70 races? Can you do it on 45 races? I mean, obviously, you guys have your own business, and both of you guys have your own businesses that you have to work through, but what would make it worthwhile?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I've never really tried to think that I was going to somehow, make money from racing. But,
At some point, it has to make sense. Though.
yeah, right, exactly. I mean, I just don't see where for anybody like us it doesn't make sense to go to, South Dakota and actually, it doesn't make a lot of sense for us to go to Williams Grove and
Yeah.
that kind of Port Royal on that either. But I don't know. I would think a guy that was wanting to race, they would need 50, 60 shows to really make it work. I don't personally think in the long term the two organizations can make it either. I think they might try to make it for a year, but I think it's going to have to go one way or the other, because I don't think there's enough tracks to go around for both tracks to survive. I don't think that the tracks are going to want to have a couple Renegade shows and a couple All-Star shows myself.
Well, if they're running from a promoter view, if you're running both of them, we're not going to have any cars.
Right.
Where's our local? It's gonna dwindle the local car count down to not even enough to have a show. If you're splitting them in half and they're running, the same weekends at different racetracks in Ohio. I mean, how many racetracks have you seen posted closed here recently?
They'd almost have to work together to make it
Yeah.
work.
And I don't see
And-
that happening,
yeah,
because
it's-
I think that the way I see it, and that's part that frustrates me, is there's been a line drawn, and it's more about, I feel, it's more about one killing the other one or doing away with the other one than collectively trying to better it. To me, from an outsider looking in, it seems like there's a bunch of pissed off people over here, mad at this person over here, and that's what's driving it. And I may be way wrong, and I do think that the drivers, need to be respected and need more money and all that stuff. But I think they've made it so personal, and that's just my opinion. You know, it's,
Do the drivers matter? Do the drivers
would
matter that you,
say.
I mean, that for a series to go, does it matter that you have big name drivers or just the number of drivers?
I'd say both, really. But I mean, this isn't a private conversation, so.
We're
Yeah.
trying to get something interesting
but
here.
Byron, like Byron said, the NST, those were like the
Top.
best of the best.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And you know, and I think if you would have had a World of Outlaw show at Attica and an NST show at Fremont, whether you had Steve Kinzer and that group of guys, people see World of Outlaw, they're gonna go.
Yeah,
to-
the name sells, absolutely.
It really does.
But I mean, there's like a lot of local guys who are doing better than the guys that have always had big names. And I think there is a time when a promoter would say that he'd rather have like, you know, Philo or Sabito or Byron over other guys that are regional big names, you know. It just, I don't know. I think the Renegade deal, probably, if you wanted to separate them, if it was like a 20 race deal just to start, just to let everybody survive on their own, and then it would probably be a cutthroat deal after the first year, you know. I don't know.
The tough part about it is that everybody's having to make choices
Yeah.
and decisions. I mean, the fact that we're having this conversation, it's tough. Especially, I mean, we're three local racers, and
Yeah.
you know, it's gonna affect us in one way or another, whether we run with one group or not. It's gonna kind of
Yeah.
It leads to where you're gonna race, or how many cars you get to race with, or they could, you know, it could hurt
Well,
a
and
racetrack.
You know, he just said it, this isn't a private comment. So everybody's on edge. Nobody
Yeah,
wants to say
yeah.
the wrong thing. You don't want to be perceived as picking a side. You don't.
Yeah. Well, but they're just two totally different concepts, and really, I mean, anybody can say what they want, but the Renegade deal is not a bad concept. Staying here, you know, within a 4 or 5 hour radius.
Right.
That's a really awesome idea. It's just, you have to make a choice. If you run with the All-Stars, are you prepared to go to Eastern or Central Pennsylvania, or to Florida, or out west? I mean, there's not many people that can take the time off work or have the money readily available to do it right. And I just think even if the All-Stars stole the idea, I mean, they would be even further ahead, if you ask me.
How does Fast fit into all this? Because Fast it's only 2 tracks, but these are the 2 strongest tracks in Ohio. And we've all ran different places, and these are the 2 strongest tracks in Ohio. And we're already running for $10,000
Yeah.
between those.
Right.
You know.
How do you squeeze a third in there?
Yeah.
Um,
Do you squeeze out Fast?
I don't know. It's just like a stepping stone series. I mean, no different than Nationwide. If you want to stay at 2 tracks, you're going to stay at 2 tracks. You're not going to go race 40 races around Ohio or Indiana. I mean, that's strictly going to be your choice, but I still think there would be a calling for it, even if the Renegade took off, just to, I don't want to say take care of those guys, but I think if you still had the $10,000 there, you would still have a pretty good group of guys.
I honestly don't think that either organization will affect Fast that much. Like right now, from what everybody, you know, what all the people that have, you know, said where they're going to go or whatever, we've only got, as far as I know, one guy that's a kind of a known Fast guy that says he's going to follow the Renegades.
Right.
And so really, I think, you know, your Brian Lays, myself, I think Caleb Griffith, I shouldn't be speaking for him, but a lot of those guys, I would think, I don't know about you, but I know the 16 car, they're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
So,
They've been there how many years? 50?
Couple.
Yeah.
so I don't see where it'll really affect the local
Yeah.
groups that much. I mean, and I think where you might lose a guy, I know there's guys coming up from I hear of guys that are coming up from the 305 ranks that'll probably fill that gap. There's always another guy I've found over these years, you know. Mark Keegan goes away, and then somebody else pops up that's, you know, that's knocking
Yeah.
you down all the time. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So there's always another guy I've found.
Well, the reason I ask is Brian Sabito was a Fast champion. He was, up until he lost the 97 right here just recently, he was going to go. Travis Philo was going to go. Dean Jacobs was running Fast. He says that he's going to go. So that's why I'm wondering if it's a good deal, will Stuart Brubaker go? You know, will Dwayne Zablocki go? Something like that.
I don't see it myself. We'll
Yeah,
see.
well, I mean, that's why I was asking. I just,
Right.
you just don't know until it gets rolling, I guess. But
And then you mentioned, just totally lost my train of thought again. Brian.
that happens.
Every once in a while, yeah. Brian Sabito. I don't. His car owner is involved in the Renegades, so I don't know that if Chris got fired and he went back into the 16 car, that Brian would necessarily say, you know, I'm a Renegade. That's all I'm
Right.
doing. I think it more, you know, and I hate bringing up Danny Holgreger. Same thing. He has Renegade stickers all over his car. I mean, big stickers. Showed up to Mercer, supported his car sponsor, who
At
was
the
a
All-Star
title
race.
sponsor at the All-Star race. Chose not to sit out the Friday night when, the Travis Philo sat out, Chad Kavanaugh sat out. Are they going to set out? My thinking is, are they going to set out for the 10,000 Jim Ford Classic
No.
to prove a point?
No.
How far is that going to go, too?
Right.
You know, because those two did sit out. I don't know that they hurt anybody other than themselves because they didn't get their. My dilemma was they raced for $2,000 at Attica every Friday night up until the $3,000 race, and then they chose to sit out on the $3,000 race to prove a point, or I don't really know.
Well, we talked about that last Saturday. That $3,000 race is kind of tough on a 2-day deal to
Yeah.
Yeah,
have a track payoff basically on a Friday night. But a 2-day deal. But anyway, we got another commercial we can go to, Stephen.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and we'll take another break and we'll come back and talk about more personal type of stuff. Got other things going on besides racing. So come on right back.
There he goes again, mixing sauces. Hot barbecue to Parmesan garlic and back again. You're not on the same page of the playbook, are you? It's time to speak up. Next time Loverboy goes to mix, set him straight.
We're gonna stop mixing sauces now, okay? Thank you.
Grab a seat. The game is on.
Buffalo Wild Wings. Wings, beer, sport.
Oh yeah, last week.
Butler.
All right, welcome back to the last lap. Man, I'm hanging off the edge here. I'm barely in that shot. We're still. Oh, that's not the camera that Byron crashed. All right, let's talk about some other stuff besides racing. Byron, you got a couple sons that are getting involved in stuff and running track and doing some other things. And what kind of stuff you got going on there?
Yeah, my oldest son right now he's doing cross country, which is a pretty cool sport. And then he plays tennis, and then my younger son plays. So my older son's non-contact. My younger son plays hockey and lacrosse. So
Oh, wow.
pretty cool sports, and yeah, it definitely keeps us busy. I'll be quite honest with you, the reason I just got here, I had every intention to leave plenty early, and I come home and I've got a kitchen table full of homework, and my wife is just at her wit's end with my oldest son not doing something right, so I was trying to help that situation out, and the time got away from me.
That's
So that's
no
kind
fault in that for
that's
sure.
kind of how it's been going for. That's how my life works pretty much.
So you're a hockey fan.
Yeah, I don't follow. I mean, I do follow hockey a little bit, not like I used to. I mean, I used to be a big into the Red Wings. I knew all the guys back then, but
I'd seen you at a couple of Toledo Storm games in the past.
yeah, we go to a couple games a year of the Walleye and that, but yeah, we're sports fans in general, really. We like a lot of different things. A couple weeks ago we went to a big tennis tournament in Cincinnati to watch. My son and my oldest son and I are like sports nuts. I mean, we know he knows all the statistics of baseball and basketball, football. I would say when he was 5 years old, he could sit through a 9-inning baseball game and be interested in it.
Oh wow.
But now my younger son, he goes along with things, but it's just kind of just because everybody else is doing it.
And your wife's a decent tennis player too.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, she plays a little bit and she enjoys it.
I've seen a couple pictures of her holding little
Yeah,
trophies and stuff. She's
yeah.
done pretty good.
Yep.
Were you played football at Anthony Wayne, didn't you?
I played football, basketball, tennis until I turned 16, and when it was coming up for my junior year in high school. That summer, I finished. I think I finished second at a race at Attica, and it was like the week before football season started or the practice started, and I said, I'm gonna race. And I quit everything just to race, and
That's been going ever since. Now.
yeah, and and then I kind of regret it a little bit because there's been plenty of races and you can only do that stuff once. But when you're 16 and you're just it's just a drug and you're hooked on it and you can't think of anything else.
You know what though? As you're getting older, you'll think the same thing about racing. You're going to run out of time to race.
Right.
You don't
Well,
do
that's
that.
true. That's true.
Do either one of the boys have any racing?
You never say never, but right at this point, I don't think so. They really love to. Well, especially once again, my oldest son loves watching me race and going to the race. And my younger son likes it too. My older son really gets into it, but I don't think they have it in them because, we've got a couple of go-karts and a four-wheeler and that. And when I was their age, I would be running that stuff all day, and they run it for a half hour, and they're like,
bored with it.
I'm done. So I just don't see it in them.
Was your dad a racer?
Nope, my dad. My dad was just a fan, and they would go back in the late 50s, early 60s, and watch some of the old guys, Raleigh Beal and different guys like that run, and just became fans of racing, and then kind of got away from it a little bit, and then kind of when I came along, and we just started going again as fans, and then that's how we got into it.
Is there a Raleigh Beal story connected to you?
Story?
Or a connection? Was there a connection I heard? Maybe the car number or something? Or is there a connection with your car? And
Not
somebody?
really. Not really.
No?
No.
I thought last year when you won the championship there was some kind of, maybe somebody going in, maybe a story from her told me or something.
No, there was no real connection to Raleigh Beal other than it was seeing him at those different things. It was kind of funny because he actually, I still have it in my scrapbook, a letter of reprimand because
This is the story. I knew there was something. I just
a letter of I used to run USAC a little bit. I mean, I would run like whenever USAC was at Eldora or around this area, I would race with them, and I had taken I don't know, I was kind of young and wild, and kind of like how I got mad at him for giving me a slide job. I slid this guy and bad, and I hit it. At Eldora, he hit the fence or hit the wall and crashed, and so he sent me like a probation letter that I was on probation. So.
Wow.
Yep. And I still have it in my scrapbook.
That's cool.
We were talking about this earlier. How many championships you win at Fremont? Are you
4, I believe.
4 over there?
Yeah.
4-time champion over there. Yet you're like one of the most under the radar kind of guys.
Yeah.
I mean, there's never really any. There's no Byron throwing helmet stories or steering wheel stories.
Yeah.
Well, there's one Byron throwing steering wheel
yeah,
story.
I threw a steering wheel once.
Yeah.
It wasn't mine though.
No, I just heard that story the other day. It was Mike Linder's, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just heard that story the other day. There was a time there when you two were neck and neck quite a bit. But it was funny because you're just kind of laid back and mellow, and even in Victory Lane.
It's my theory. No disrespect to her. It's that age division. These guys all think it's okay to do that. They're emotional and they run out there and they chase people across the infield, and they show up at the flag stand during the feature, like giving the trophy to Dale Blaney, and we got a driver on the front stretch freaking out because he was mad about a restart or something.
You didn't do any of that stuff when you were young.
I've never
Wild,
seen
did you?
Byron do that, really.
No, I've never was not. I don't know. I can't say never, but I wasn't one to kind of run around that much. I don't know. A lot of my racing etiquette, and this sounds bad, I guess. I don't know. What it sounded like. Jack Hewitt kind of taught me a lot of racing etiquette, and I don't know. I guess some of that stuff's come from him, maybe.
It's
Jack
so funny to hear that
Hewitt.
because I'm seeing in my
So-
mind that video that you sent
Yeah,
me.
no kidding.
That's the one
Yeah.
I'm seeing.
So
Right.
he taught you not to do what
Well-
I say, not what I do? Is that how
Well, I don't know, like, just some different things. Like I don't know, maybe that's wrong, but a lot of things I've learned were from him, and as far as racing etiquette, and I don't know.
Oh, that's good. I mean, you just,
Yeah.
you know, we know how Jack Hewitt is, so it's
Right.
it's just funny that you
He's my
say that.
hero.
Yeah. So, are you one of those guys that would run out, Chris, and throw a steering wheel at
Well,
somebody?
it depends what happened.
Oh, okay.
Probably.
I don't know that I've seen you run after
No,
somebody.
I haven't.
I
Yeah.
have.
Have you?
Yeah.
Have I?
Yeah, I think probably this year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You went over and said hello or something. I'm not
Yeah.
sure what you did. You see, now you remember.
Yeah. I've got one. Yeah. No, yeah, it just.
I've seen Brian Smith go to a car going by.
No, it was this.
Well, it was something.
It was
I knew
this.
it
But it
was
wasn't-
some kind.
That wasn't the bad part. The bad part was when I pushed the official. But so now, what do you got going on outside of racing? We know you're. Don't you buy and sell trucks?
Yeah,
and
we just
stuff?
have a semi-truck dealership for older Kenworths and Peterbilts.
The cool looking ones.
Yeah, the fancy ones, and I've got about 11 guys that work for me. We stay
Right.
pretty busy, so yeah, it's like absolutely.
I'm a big fan of Chris Andrews outside of the racetrack, even though I get mad at him a lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
You're not a fan of Chris Andrews at the racetrack?
Yeah, I am.
Oh,
But I
okay.
mean, but for his age, and I use that silver spoon, thought process a lot. He's a hard worker. He's accomplished a lot for his age. I mean, you had your own deal.
Yeah.
You decided that you were spending too much of your own money.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
you wanted to invest and do something. At that point in your life,
It's
he
20.
talks about that drug, or
Mhm.
that's hard to stop and say, you know what,
Yeah.
I'm not going to do this anymore.
Yeah, that was pretty difficult. I mean, all of what we had at 21 years old was pretty intense. I mean, we had everything, and I just, woke up one day and said, man, this is not getting me anywhere, like owning my own stuff, and pretty much just sold it and invested it, and just probably the best thing that's ever happened to me, really. It's, I've got the best of both worlds right now. I drive for probably the best people at Fremont Speedway right now, car owner wise, and I get to do what I want for a living.
They're solid, they're loyal.
Yeah.
Did you have any intentions of being a travel racer at any time?
Actually, yeah, like I've got a few goals that I want to get past here in the next couple of years, and I'd like to actually break away. I've always wanted to run like a ARCA car or a truck, that's always.
Pavement, that's right. We talked
Yeah.
about that a little bit before.
Yeah, I've always wanted to just do it.
Something you want to put together on your own, even though
No.
You venture that?
That's not capable. I just, there's quite a few truck teams around that would entertain.
in Sandusky.
Well, there's one in Sandusky.
Yeah.
3 teams.
But it's close, right?
Yeah. But I'd like to put something together and do that. And actually, I'd like to get out and do some more sprint car racing, and just like do the Chili Bowl and get back to doing the Royal and the Doty and Speed Week, and just kind of get away a little bit.
Any chance to get the Burmeisters to do that?
Possibly.
Really?
See what happens. I don't know.
I'd be surprised at that.
Me too,
Yeah.
because they've been around for not
Blow
forever.
some minds. Yeah.
Honestly, I'm impressed that they've run Attica for the last several years.
It's like 20 miles away.
Yeah, I know, but still, when I ran for them, we couldn't get them to leave town at all.
Really?
So, yeah,
So,
that's a good deal.
yeah, not bad.
Yeah, the 16 car is the one car every race night you can count on. The 16 car is going to be there.
Yeah,
They're,
absolutely.
they're pretty solid.
So,
Do you have any? Did you ever have any ideas of doing any kind of pavement racing or anything different?
When I was 17 years old or 18 or whatever, you kind of thought about that kind of stuff, but I actually, believe it or not, I had some opportunities to advance myself, but I didn't. It was kind of, but yet it was always, set in stone that I'm going to go to college, I'm going to do this and do that, and it's just, you couldn't do both, and I just didn't take advantage of maybe a few things, but you look back on it, you think, I'm happy with where I'm at in my life, so it's not a big deal.
You've only driven for one other team. Is that? Did you drove for Hampshire one night?
Hampshire one night, and I drove a champ car for Johnny Vance one night,
Oh, okay.
and that was it.
How'd the champ car deal go?
It was the Four Crown Nationals, and it was great the first night. I qualified 6th out of, I don't know, 30-some cars or whatever. The next night didn't go so good because I crashed on about the 3rd lap, so. So that was it. And then even in that was probably a bit, I really got it. We really hit it off really well with them, but I never really, followed up on it or anything to see if I had another chance with him. And
We had a pretty solid deal, though, right? I mean, you guys enjoy the family team.
right,
and-
yeah, we do. So
And it's nice. I think it's nice you don't have that pressure of when you're not doing so well.
right,
And you get that feeling when you walk into a trailer when you're racing for somebody else
Right.
and the air's real thick. And
there still can be
kind
some
of-
thick air at our
Yeah.
trailer. To be honest with you, they can get pretty thick. So it was pretty thick this year.
But you don't think they're going to fire you?
No,
You're not
I
going
don't
to come and
think
your
so.
seat's going to be unfolded someday.
Who's
There-
harder on you, your mom or dad? Or your wife?
No.
Kelly's pretty late.
I don't
isn't
know.
she?
Oh yeah, she's just there to support me. She doesn't really, say a whole lot, but no, it can be. Totally a family deal is great, but there's pressure there too, and a lot of it's within myself really. I mean, you feel like you expect yourself to do a certain, be at a certain level, and when you're not there, it's just not acceptable. So
How old are you now? 42?
41.
41?
Yep.
How long are you going to do this? I'm just going to throw that right out there.
I don't have a retirement date set yet. I mean, I do see.
Well, that's good.
I do see, time. There's things that'll happen in my life that it won't be that I'll make, a race. But I don't have a retirement date set. But just stupid things like my neighbor's daughter will be graduating high school in a couple years. I wouldn't want to, I'd like to go. My neighbor's good friend. I'd like to go to his. If they have if a graduation party falls on a race night, I'll go to the graduation party. Stupid stuff like that. I don't want to feel like I'm still where we're in the points and we've got to, hold our spot or whatever.
Well, I've heard you say a couple times where you weren't really chasing points, and then you ended up the champion.
Right. Well, that was that was back when I was kind of still traveling a little bit. I'll flat admit it now. I'm a Fremont. My goal this year was to win the Fremont points and the fast points because Crown Battery sponsors me and they're a great sponsor. They're from Fremont. They enjoy, they kind of get a kick out of, I think, winning the Fremont points. And then obviously you like to win the fast points because it does pay really well and it's a good series. So there were my two goals. So I'm kind of a points racer now. I'll admit it.
That's all right, though.
Yep.
That's all right, though. What about you, Chris? You is that those the goals that you set out for at the beginning of the year, or the same kind of thing?
Well, I mean, Craig Mintz set a pretty fast pace, and when he fell out, obviously it was a game changer. But the battle's still pretty tight for the lead now, which would be second at the beginning of the year. But no, it's tough. I mean, you can't outmoney anybody anymore. It doesn't matter how many new tires you put on. It's just so tight. But I felt we were a championship car somewhere. Don't know where, but wherever it lands, I guess. So, but yeah, week in, week out, it's tough just to be in the top 5 at Attica or Fremont.
That's one thing I think we do need to mention. I mean, let's face it, we probably would all be running for second right now if Craig Mintz wouldn't have had his trouble. So I do think that needs to be thrown out there that if I win Fremont or whatever this year or whatever, probably would have been second if he'd have been able to run all the shows.
Yeah.
He seemed to be the guy.
He was really hot there before he got hurt. So. Yep.
You ever worry about that stuff? I mean, I know the answer to this question, but do you ever worry about, getting banged up like that and not being able to do it?
It's like a possibility. You just don't think about it. I don't know. I don't have kids, so.
Right. You got wife and kids and.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. I worry about. I mean, I don't. Just go to the track worried about. But you think about it like, and hopefully my customers and my business don't watch this YouTube channel, but it's like when you say you have a customer in or something, they might have a racing picture that you kind of keep it down. You you think about it from those kinds of things, like, that wouldn't look really good if I'm, sitting in a hospital bed and, my customer's visiting or this or that, and, or they call wondering where I'm at. Oh, well, he, broke his leg racing, or, or broke his back, and so you think about that a little bit.
Yeah, I know you've been banged up a couple times. You broke your leg at Eldora once.
Yeah.
And, I know you told me you ran I-96 a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And went off the end, and that's the first time I ever heard you say that you were scared.
Yeah.
When you were going off backwards.
Right. Yep. Yeah. It's part of it, but
Did it change when you had kids? Did your thinking going into race nights change when you had your kids?
It doesn't really change. There are some weird things that have crossed my mind, like, and I don't know how we talk about this or whatever, but I do remember, it's kind of crazy, but when they were hauling me into the helicopter at Eldora, I had been married for like a year and a half, and I'm thinking to myself, I need to, like, move my life forward here, like have kids and stuff, and or could, like, it just kind of, those kinds of things went through my head. And I actually remember the last time I ran a non-wing car was at Fremont at probably the last USAC show they had, and a guy hit me in the left rear, and I flipped all the way down the back straightaway and got a concussion. And as I'm driving back, or actually Jim Ford was driving me back on his golf cart to my trailer. Like, the first thing my son was like 3 years old at the time. Like, that's the first thing I wanted to see for some reason, that like my son. So just kind of weird things, but yeah, I don't really change. It's not like I drive more conservatively or safely. We quit racing Eldora because, we do this for fun, and God, Eldora was probably my favorite track, but just so many things happened to me there. Not to say they couldn't happen anywhere, but just seemed like the chances of danger were higher for me at Eldora.
A higher being.
Right. So we just decided I don't race for a living. I don't need it for a paycheck. So let's just cut down the chances that way. So that's kind of why that happened.
You married with kids yet? What's the deal there? You got longtime girlfriend and got a good business going and a famous race car driver, and
instant red face.
Yeah. We were leaning on Caleb Griffith when he was in here. He's got, how come you're not married yet? What's the deal?
I don't know. I'm just wrapped up in business right now, and just different goals, I guess.
He's gonna hate me for saying that.
Yeah.
Just on the air.
Yep.
Getting a slide job for that one.
Yeah, I got one of those last Saturday. All right. Well, what time is it here? Yeah, it's about 10 till. We can cut out a little bit early. There's one thing. Anything else you need to talk about? You want to talk about?
I think I'm good.
Okay. Cool. You haven't seen the show, Byron, but Chris has already done this. This is called Having a Ball with Art.
Was our first? Was Chris our first?
Chris might have been the first person that did this.
Because he set the bar really, really high.
So what this is it's an art challenge. You put it on your head.
Okay.
You draw your sprint car. You put your 5 on it, and then you look at it, and then you autograph it, and we hang it out there on the wall until 2 weeks when we have the Kick It auction. We're going to auction these off towards the Kick It. Everyone we've had, from Jim Linder, Mark Keegan, Chris, Nate Dussel, they've all done this, except for Brian Sabito wrote Nate Dussel is overrated. Except for Rick Ferkel.
Okay.
Rick Ferkel walked in the door and didn't even say hello. He said, "I'm not doing the drawing." But everybody else has. So
he wasn't doing.
Right.
You actually do it on your head.
So you put it on your head,
and then
you
draw
your
picture.
car. Yep.
Draw your car. And sign it.
Draw your car. Put your number.
Oh, sign it after.
And then sign it after. So.
And you got to do this on camera.
You got to do it on camera because it plays well on camera. Take as long as you need. We'll talk a little bit about what's coming up this week at Fremont. Salute the Champions Night, which.
Byron's a 4-time champion.
You haven't won a championship out there yet?
Fremont, no.
Okay.
Nope.
So Byron will be out there. I'll be out there. 33 other guys will be out there, I think.
A whole list of them. I know they kind of had some problems. We've turned to social media trying to get in contact with some of the older people.
Right.
I think, I'm hoping that we get everybody involved. What are you giggling about?
Nothing.
It's his girlfriend on the phone right there.
Yeah.
How come you're not proposing to me on the air? So it'll be a fun time for sure. That's not bad. That looks like a sprint car.
Yeah.
Go. We'll show this up to you. It almost looks like a 5T. I think you got the wrong black 5. There's Byron's version.
Yes.
Not bad. Not bad. Go ahead and autograph that for us. And thank you guys once again for coming in. Chris for coming back again,
Yeah.
even though you came in before, you didn't turn us down. So
Yeah.
He
appreciate
did
that.
stand us up a couple weeks ago.
What jet skiing?
He went jet skiing
Way more
instead.
important.
And I was mad
Yeah.
at him again. The thing with Chris is I've been mad at him so many times.
He
I
doesn't
just get
care.
over it.
Yeah.
I heard him tell, who'd you tell? Oh, Kyle Capodice. Kyle was going to play, wasn't real sure if he wanted to play gig ball. And Chris is like, don't tell her no, don't tell her you're going to do it if you're not going to do it because she'll be mad.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well,
I get
thanks.
over it though.
Thanks to these guys coming in. Come and see us Saturday night at Fremont Speedway for the Salute to Champions night. And
Finally back to racing. I don't
finally
know
back
about
to
you
racing.
guys, but I'm beyond ready
Definitely.
to go back racing.
definitely, we need something to talk about on the show, which is on next Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Check us out on Facebook and Twitter and all those social media places. Check out all our old shows on lastlaplive.com, and we'll see you next week.